The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 343. We are streaming live on YouTube as always and over on Twitch. Not Twitch, but Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, to over 150 countries worldwide. If you're out there in the live chat, go ahead and say something. We do not know that you're out there unless you do. If you're watching this in replay or listening to this in podcast form, go ahead and utilize the comment section. Let us know how ugly we are, how bad the show is, all that good stuff. Especially if you're listening in podcast, go ahead and rate, review, and share. It does help our stats over there on the podcast platforms. If you want to text into the show, yes, you can text into the show. Utilize our Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. That number is 530-364-4678. I believe it's scrolling down below. I'm not very smart, guys. I eat crayons for a living, so it is what it is. But yeah, go ahead and utilize that. And go check out our friends over at Wilder Tactical. You guys know that they provide some of the best gear out there. If you're looking for a great war belt / duty belt, whatever you want to call them, they've got med kits. They've got pretty much anything and everything that you need, H harnesses, all that good stuff. Go check out our good friends over at wildertactical.com and let them know that Ghost sent you over there. If you're a veteran, especially if you're a veteran, but really anybody, and you're in that hole, you're in that darkness, and you're looking for the light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I might be able to walk you through some stuff. More importantly, I can just be a pretty decent ear to listen. If you are looking for someone that can get you towards some medical attention, remember two things, guys. One, you're not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. Veterans, press the number 1. We are spotlighting, as always, United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we are proud members of the Self-Defense Radio Network and the Firearms Radio Network. So go check out all your favorite pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net and firearmsradio.net. Let's see here. Let's get this off of my ugly mug and say hello to the merry band of idiots for the night. From the weirdest state in the union, the only state that has 4 letters and takes 2 people to spell it out. From the crazy state of Ohio, we have Chris from the 740. What's up, homie?
Not much, man. Thanks for the invite. It's going to be a fun show tonight.
Absolutely. It is. We got a special guest for everyone tonight, so we're going to get in here in a second and bring Craig in. But yeah, absolutely, special guest. It's going to be fun. You had, I think, one on a few weeks ago or a month ago or so from SAR, and that was a fun discussion as well. So go check out that over at Chris's channel. You got anything coming up for us?
Yeah, we'll have Cox Arms Thursday night. Looking forward to that. And got some videos shot down at Aim Day over the weekend. Got to hang out with our brother Kyle over at Aim Surplus, so that was super fun. But it's good. Been a good week.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw some pictures of you and Kyle and all of that. So, yeah. Standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a Ginger, my lord, and a flatbed Ford. From the Gun Owners of America and Fully Loaded Reviews, we have John, the Ginger Soulless Bastard. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going today?
I am living the nightmare, my man. Living the nightmare.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Man, what's going on in the 2A world? I'm going to give you 2A Tuesday, some time for the GOA to say what's going on out there.
Well, we got our. Hold on, I gotta pull this up. There was a House committee vote or House vote today on our veterans bill to keep it as a stay, so we're good to go on that. And cool, that came through too. And this will get posted here shortly. Our veterans panel, you might recognize that guy right there for our veterans panel, the awesome panel that's going to be.
Who is that guy?
Shortly. Hey, look at that Trey Miller guy right there.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't know that I can't believe you guys are letting that fool in Knoxville.
I hear he's a douche.
So super
hey, that's King Douche. That's King Douche to you, okay?
Oh, maybe.
And
I don't know. I don't know him that well.
And then yesterday we had our posts on all the vendors, or 96% of the vendors' logos were on there for goals. So super excited about goals coming up August 17th, 18th, Knoxville, Tennessee. Hoping to get more companies signed on to join. Anderson's going to be there. Cox Arms, who's going to be on with Chris this week, is going to be there. Unfortunately, Jay and Jake haven't gotten back to me from SAR, so I'm calling them out right now. They got to be there.
Well, I was talking with Jay man, over the weekend. Yeah, Craig will bring him, but I was talking with Jay over the weekend, and I know that there's some discussion going on. I don't know. Here's the thing: everything is kind of they're putting a new team over there with Jake and Jay and a lot of great guys over there. They're putting a really solid team at SAR going on. But Jay's literally been on the job for like a month, and I think he's still trying to figure out budgets and all that. So that's the last time I heard is they're still trying to figure out what kind of marketing budgets are out there. So I know they're very interested. I'm not going to speak for them, but I know that we had talked about it.
I just got to give him crap because I've been friends with Jake for so long. I'm just giving Jake some crap while I'm at it.
Well, just the fact that Jake is like the only one that's been there for more than like a year now, it's kind of interesting, you know, that he was a lone wolf there for a little while.
Oh, yeah. And then today on Fully Loaded Reviews, we launched a new video on the new Hellcat Pro comp that launched today. So super excited about that, having that opportunity to launch a firearm with Springfield today.
There you go. It's going to be a 47-minute video, or what's going on with that?
It's 15 minutes. I cut it down because you guys kept complaining.
It's funny, but yeah. Juan sending me a text. Is Craig not on? Craig's on. He's the one without the camera up top. Juan.
Yeah,
so I think he's out there. But yeah. And from the great state of Texas, the gatekeeper of Texas pride and maybe other kind of pride. So,
well, it is that month. It is that month. I hear.
That's what I hear, brother. That's what I hear. You know, how you doing?
Yeah,
you got power.
Yeah. Believe it or not,
it's
a miracle. But yeah, it's not bad. A little wet.
It's good. You got a shotgun of the week for me?
God, I don't know if it qualifies, but did you know Henry has a 22 caliber garden rifle, which is a smoothbore 22, basically. Yeah.
That's interesting. Is that so? That's considered a shotgun. You think?
If you run shot shells, will do it. Yeah, I would think so. If it's smooth bore, I would think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't see shot shells, 22 shot shells around much anymore. You used to see them all the time. So probably online sources or something, but I don't necessarily see them in stores much anymore. So yeah.
Streaming for the first time over on X, and I'm wondering if that is one of the things that's causing the streaming thing to be weird. So I'm going to go ahead and end. Sorry for the 3. I'm going to take that off and see if that helps with the StreamYard. Is that better? Am I still kind of freezing up on you guys, or what? On my side, I'm not having any issues. I don't know.
No, you're good right now, but you're coming in slightly pixelated on my end. I don't know, Chris. Are you seeing the same thing? It's kind of slightly pixelated.
Yeah.
Maybe better to kill Cam.
Really?
It may. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something weird. I think something weird is happening.
Is that better there?
StreamYard.
I mean, is it audio?
So far.
Audio sounds better. I think.
Yeah, it does sound better.
I have the same setup I always do, so I don't know.
Sean's show had the same issues last night with StreamYard, where it was timing out like this and doing things. So I think there's an issue on StreamYard's end.
Dates or something like that, you never know. But all right, we're gonna go without camera and see how that works. All right, we do have a special guest tonight from SAR USA. We have Craig Bellamy. Craig is well, I'm going to let you explain, Craig. Welcome to the show, and I want you to kind of give everybody how you're working with SAR and maybe your background a little bit.
Okay, yeah, thanks for having me on. I guess my background, I've been in law enforcement for a little bit over 30 years now. I work for a major city police department. I'm currently over like a tactical operations division, so I have like SWAT, K9, bomb, dive, and HNT. So I really love the profession. Been, like I said, it's been a great job for a long time. Several years back, I was part of a group that we started a marksmanship team within our department. So we've been trying to push more of a shooting culture, within our groups. And then this year, my daughter and myself, we met with the representatives from SAR last year, doing some stuff where they were supporting and sponsoring, LE functions, and just started talking, building friendships, and we ended up both shooting for SAR USA. So currently,
in competitive shooting, but
go ahead.
And you're running several.
Yeah, I'm losing. I think you asked.
No, I was just saying, like for the different disciplines.
Yes. So I currently
you're using.
Yeah. So currently I shoot limited optics with the SAR K12. That's their steel framed pistol, single action only. I have a Patriot Defense magwell on it, SRO mounted. My daughter shoots that same gun. She shoots limited optics. She just turned 15 as a junior shooter. I also shoot carry optics division with the SAR 9 Gen 3, the 4.4 inch with an SRO mounted to that. Other than that, the gun's stock. Really liking shooting it, even though it's a polymer gun in a competition world where a lot of the main guns are steel, because of that added weight, the benefit of it. But the SAR 9 line, if you've ever picked one up, it just fits the hand so well. Like the ergonomics are so good that it locks into my grip, that my recoil management is about the same as the steel guns that I was running. So really enjoying it. Also shoot IDPA.
I'm a huge fan of this. SAR.
Good. Sorry, you cut out. So yeah, and then IDPA.
I'm sorry about this lag. I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird.
So yeah, so the company's
Clover, will you take over for 2 seconds on this?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, assuming that it's not weird on my end. Might reboot your.
No, I hear you just fine.
Well, I'm going to jump out and see if it's me.
Reboot your modems and routers.
Yeah, Craig's definitely lagging. I don't know if it's on my side or if it's on everybody's side, but Craig's lagging. It might be me. So I'm going to go ahead and get out and come right back in, try to reset some stuff.
Yeah, just reset and see what happens.
All right.
Sweet. So let's start over, because since he was glitching there, Craig, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What were the models of SAR you say that you're using and your daughter's using?
So I'm shooting limited optics with the SAR K12. The modifications to it is we put a Patriot Defense larger magwell on it and had it direct milled for an SRO. So we're both running SROs on that. I also shoot the SAR 9 Gen 3 4.4 inch in carry optics division. So the only modification I've done to that gun is it's got a full size plate with an SRO. Everything else is stock on it. And I was saying that, you know, in a division where a lot of the top guns are steel frame guns, this one is a joy to shoot. The way it fits my hand, it locks into your grip really, really well. So my recoil impulse is, to me, is not that much difference than when I was shooting like my K-12, a steel frame gun. So really, really liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that out about the the SAR stuff as well. It tends to fit my hands really well too. Chris, I'm gonna hop up to you. If you got any questions for Craig, but I'm curious before you get to that, have you handled the SARs? And you're a big dude, so it being a pretty good fit and feel for me especially the SAR 9. I'm wondering if you've got any experience with that and your big bear paw hands, what you think.
Yeah, I got my SOCOM up there hanging on the wall. It's probably still my favorite gun this year so far. Thursday night, we actually ran it suppressed for the first time. Ran about 120 rounds through it, suppressed. It runs great suppressed. It's a great gun. I mean, anybody that's watched my channel knows how big of a fan I am of the SOCOM. So, it fits my hand great. And the SOCOM has a magwell on it too. And I absolutely love it. It's a great gun.
You guys hear me okay now? Is it better?
Yeah.
Oh, that is better.
So far.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Real quick, I do need to mention this. AB out there, Alaska Ballistics, $2 super chat, wants to know, does SAR have a 10 millimeter? I know there's some talks and some stuff coming down the line, AB, but Craig, you want to talk about maybe some 10 millimeter stuff?
Yeah, we do not at this time, but I know at SHOT Show this year or this last year, and then just now at the NRA event, we were keeping track of the number of people that asked about it and getting feedback.
I bet there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there was quite a few. So yeah, there's some discussions going on around that, along with a few other things that will be in the planning for SHOT Show next year.
Yep. I'm sorry, guys. I hope this is better. I just rebooted, and I think it's working better now. I don't know what was going on, but Clove, where all did we go while I was gone?
We didn't go far. He just we let Craig kind of backtrack a little bit since you were breaking up on what they were running in comps, and then he mentioned how well it fits his hands. So I was curious with Chris what he thought about that. His hands being him being a bigger dude. So it's about as far as we got with it.
Yeah, Chris, did you go ahead and answer that, or
he did?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah. So for me, I love the SAR. The SAR 9 is I've had one since 2018. Long time ago, and I love it, and it's one of the best feeling ergonomically guns that I've ever held or owned. And I always kind of say it's a love child, in my opinion, of a VP9 and like a Glock 17, which is nothing wrong with that. They're both great guns, but yeah, the SAR 9 feels great. I do love the SOCOM. And I really enjoyed at NRAM this year, Craig, messing with the SOCOM Compact. I think that's going to be something that's going to hit the market pretty big. What's your experience with the Compact? I know you said you use some IDPA with the Compact. Do you not?
I do, and so I don't currently have a SOCOM for myself yet, but I've been carrying the standard SAR 9 Compact for a while as my off-duty gun, and love it. I mean, I've got a Holosun EPS mounted for the optic, and then a Surefire TRL-7X, one of their new little weapon lights. So, I mean, it's an awesome shooting pistol. Easy to carry. I carry a appendix. So yeah, it's great shooting gun. So the SOCOM, yeah, is going to be super popular. I mean, the ergonomics of the gun, like you talked about, is solid. To me, the overall design is really, really good. It's got a full steel chassis system, so there's no flexation issues when you're mounting weapon lights or things to it. The slide serrations look good and they're effective. You know, most competitors, like, you run off the front of the slide for malfunctions and loading because it's more efficient. So everything about the gun is super functional, and it just
Absolutely.
feels great and looks good. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it
it's going
does,
to
and
do really
I
well.
can't wait to get my hands on one and work with one. And I can't wait. I'm really, you know, I enjoy SAR. I've got the 109T behind me. I've got the SAR 9. Love both of those. But I think where the company is going, especially seeing Jake and Juan, but meet my old buddy Jay. I've known Jay for a long, long time. A great friend, and nice to hear that he's jumping on board. And there's other people that are kind of joining the team over there at SAR. And to me, I kind of mentioned it to Jake and some of the guys over at NRAM that you're kind of putting together a really solid squad of leadership over there. And I'm really excited about what's coming down the road at SAR. Is that something when you were deciding, you and your daughter were deciding to work with SAR, what were kind of some of the determining factors on choosing SAR as guns that you're going to trust in competition?
So, yeah, that's a really good question because it did matter. Like, my daughter is um, constantly improving and getting better, and I wouldn't put her in a position to shoot something I wouldn't want to shoot. For me, that was number one. If we were going to ever be involved with somebody, it was going to have to be a gun that was, you know, reliable and effective and able to be competitive in what we were doing. I didn't want to set her up for failure. So number one, it was that. So I really like the guns. To me, I've shot a lot of single stack in years past, and the shape of, like, the K12, that design fits my hand so much better. Even, like, so my duty gun, I carry it. It's a little bougie, but it's an Atlas Athena, and
Okay. Yeah.
that shape of their grip module, because it doesn't have the standard 1911 grip safety, fits kind of the same way as that K12 fits. And to me, that's the best shape and the best ergonomics for my hand. And then when I picked up the SAR 9s, I was like, oh my God, this is even better. So it just locks into the hand so
Yeah.
well, you know, that even in Houston and with our humidity and heat, and you're sweating, I don't have to use, like, you know, chalks or different things to help get a better grip on the gun because it's just completely locked in there. So I really liked all
Absolutely.
that. And then, of course, meeting the people involved with SAR, I really like them. So I'm all about relationships, right? I've been in
Yep.
law enforcement for a long time, so I want to work with good people, and they are good people. And like you said, they're bringing on more. They actually have a really strong desire to improve, listen, and get better. And to me, that's how I want to live my life in my job, and being involved with a company like this, same thing. So they've got really good, solid products, and they want to keep making them better. And to me, that's just a winning combination.
Yeah. So you're using the K12 for USPC. Are you using the X model or the regular sport?
So the regular sport is what we shoot, the one that has the magwell option, in limited optics. Right now I've been just shooting solely on the SAR 9, the Gen 3, for carry optics, because carry optics nationals is coming up in a few weeks, so I'm prepping for that. But yeah, I like them both.
Hey, Craig, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a question. I know at the beginning of the show you had talked about you had the slide milled on your K12 Sport. Who did you, if you don't mind me asking, who did you have do the slide milling for that?
Yeah, it's I'm trying to think of what the name of the company was before, but Joe, another guy, bought it, and it's called Blue Cut LLC in Houston, and they've done
Okay.
a ton of work, you know, for LE in the region. And he designed a plate for it and milled it, so he's got a plate ready that can be fit, and he did a really solid job in designing it where it's got a couple of bosses built into the frame that mate to the plate, and then 4 screws holding the plate to the gun. Because I want my stuff super reliable. I don't ever want it to come and loose. So it's once it's on there, it's not coming off. And he did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, it's the gun is priced so well that to me it would be worth getting that and then putting a little more money into it to get it milled.
For sure. So yeah, I can tell you with our K-12s, with now my daughters have the Henning Group short reset kits that you order. They're 410 folio, but they fit the K-12 to shorten the trigger reach for her because she's got smaller hands. The magwell, the plate, and mounted with an SRO, and you're under $1,500 for the whole thing. So instead of some of the other guns, at a minimum, by the time you do the work you want into it, you're 2,000-3,000. I mean, for 1,500, now I've got my main gun. I could have another practice gun set up, so I have a backup system, and I can train heavily and not be so in debt with it. I mean, to me, people talk about the value of SAR, or they'll say they're cheap, and to me, I wouldn't want a cheap gun. I'll spend the money that I want to spend on a good gun. To me, the value is it's an exceptional pistol. It's priced so far below what, in my opinion, I was shocked with the first time they told me what they cost. I'm like, really? You should be charging double of this, right? So they're really good guns and at a really good price. So to me, that's value, right? So it allows people to get into a system, get into a competition pistol with not so much money, that now they can buy a good belt, good holster, some of the other gear that they need to get started with.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really enjoyed talking with Juan and Jay and Jake over at NRAM, and the price points did come up. It's like, forever you guys have kind of priced yourself in that to where I think the people that don't know about SAR, they're going to say, oh, that must be not a great gun because it's priced so low. And they're aware of that, obviously. But I also love the answer that I got from them. It was like, look, we're okay. Like, the price we're putting out there financially and business wise, we're okay where we're at, but we also want to provide incredible value for the consumer. Is we want them to be able to get a great firearm, a great gun, and not break the bank, for you can be able to go and get a belt, or go get an optic, or buy a bunch of ammo to go to the range. And I love the fact that they say, we probably could charge more, but our margins are where we're okay with, comfortable right now. But we also want to make sure that we're giving the consumers a really good deal and feel like when they buy a gun from us, the value versus price is there. And I think that that's what they've done the last few years, is really capitalize on that market of great value for a price that people are almost shocked at.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I've seen people that are like, they can't believe it. And then, part of that goes with it. And it's funny, like you said, a lot of people haven't heard about SAR. I didn't know about SAR until last year, but yet it's a company, is one of the largest gun manufacturers in the world, right? They're in like 88 different countries, lots and lots of military contracts. So they're well known everywhere else. And they have, so they have extreme volume, right? Because they're putting out a lot of stuff all over the place. So yeah, that allows them, when you have that kind of volume and that kind of, history and things set up to support it, then you can do things at a price that some others can't.
Yeah, I know that, a lot of people that are familiar with SAR are familiar with the SAR 9, the K-12, and now the new SOCOM line. But I know Clover, when we kind of found SAR together back in shot of 2018, and a lot of people don't realize was it NRAM? That's right, NRAM. And it was one of those things that they bring a bunch of other guns to the market that aren't the tactical things. I know Clover is excited about some revolvers and all that. What are your experiences with some of the non-tactical semi-autos with SAR?
So we started out with the 2000, 2000 series was the first gun my daughter shot with. So she shot that at IPSC Nationals last year. It was it's one of their double singles, and so we started with that. And then, of course, they've got the P8 series, the K2. A lot of people like, the 45. It's a really good design. And what I like about setup their system singles is shooting before, like shooting like say like a CZ Shadow 2. You Cajunize it and have a really good trigger, say 5.5 pound double, about 2 pound single, but the double action was really smooth all the way through. So, like I'm JJ is one of my mentors, and so I do a lot of trigger prep on difficult or controlled targets. So drawing on that double action, I would try to prep it to about that 90%, and then finish that double action trigger pull when I'm completely centered on target. Well, when it's completely smooth all the way through, sometimes that doesn't work out so well. But with the SAR double singles, they actually stack in the double action right about that 85 to 90%. So it's almost like a wall that you can get to pretty quickly and then finalize the shot. So I really like that in their double single guns. Of course, once it goes single action, they're all really good at that. But I really do like it. Revolvers, I haven't carried a revolver on duty, but I've shot them and
Right.
have them. But their revolvers look really good. They're really solid. I know I have limited experiences with them yet. I haven't shot too many of them, but I know talking to guys that compete with them and like them, that it's a super solid base to build from, right? Just a little bit of trigger work and polishing, and you get a really solid gun to shoot with. So, that's been the feedback I've got on the revolvers.
Clove, I know that you were really hyped about some of the revolvers, and they were having some issues 3, 4, or 5 years ago, even kind of get them in the country. But I know that you were excited about some. I don't remember which models they were. Do you remember them still?
SR38, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know that ended up being what it was when they finally got them in or not, but I believe. But I talked with Jake at TriggerCon for quite some time back late last year, and he said, his vision, his plan was to kind of finish out the SAR 9 lineup. He wanted to kind of finish out that family with the the SOCOM and then the compacts and the other things, and then he wanted to shift some focus over to some of the more metal stuff, which it kind of got me excited because I'm more of a metal guy than I am plastic frame. So, but everything in due time, I guess.
That's right. Chris, Ginger, Clover, you guys have any questions right now for Craig?
Not right now. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm curious. Talking about the SAR 9, because that's definitely at this point, that seems to be their push in their flagship series. You said, Craig, you run the Gen 3. Do you know some of the improvements that's happened from Gen 1 to Gen 3?
Yeah, the Gen 1s, and like I said, I've just been this year actually, started shooting for them on their team, but the Gen 1s did not have the optics plate system built into it. So they've done some improvements there in the trigger. A little bit of work was done between the Gen 1 and the Gen 3 triggers. The Gen 3s are really good. Like I said, the only thing I've done to mine is mount an SRO. Now I just have played with putting in a tungsten guide rod and a lighter recoil spring. So obviously SAR 9s are used a lot in militaries around the world. So they set up for that type of ammunition, full power NATO ammo. So they're a little bit oversprung for anything that's less than that. So that's the only change that I've made to the gun. But yeah, the Gen 3 has.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the Gen 3, a little bit of the ergonomics or some of the slide cuts were changed and improved, and to me that is super functional because I really dislike picking up a gun and I can't run off the front of the slide, especially if you're running an optic. I mean, it's way less efficient but you can't do it on a gun that's slick up front, right? It's hard to get a hold of it to run it like you should.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have the as far as I know, I think it's the Gen 1. And the funny thing about it is the trigger was okay. I mean, it's a decent trigger. It gets better through time. I've probably got, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 rounds to that thing now, and it's gotten better. But I will say that not having the optic cuts and all that, but remember back then, that was still kind of a weird, like, there weren't a lot of handguns that were optic cut, and so it's kind of a strange thing that now we come full circle 5-6 years later, and if you don't have an optic ready firearm, then you might as well just mail it in because no one wants it these days, whether they use an optic or not.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, every defensive gun should have an optic. From my ankle gun to my duty gun, they all have it.
Yeah, see, I'm still new to the optic for handgun game. I in the last couple years, I would say is I've got some that I'm working on trying to get used to it. It's just a different thing for me. Is I had to get used to it. And Clover's seen me shoot with an optic on there, and my mind still wants to like kind of absolute co-witness, and that just it is one of those things where I've got to get my mind over shooting a handgun with optics. But I see the value, and I just have to get used to it. We do have a question real quick, and Mark brought this up. Wanted to know how we feel about the general weight of the SARs. I have absolutely no problem with the weight of SARs. I think that they're actually pretty well balanced. I don't mind having a little bit of weight on a gun. That's never been I'd rather have it be a little bit too heavy than too light. And I think that a lot of gun companies got through there for a while and trying to get the lightest polymer gun,
Oh, sorry, you'd cut out. Yeah, for me, the weight of it is really good, and maybe that plays into why recoil impulse is as good as it is. Besides the ergonomics, I mean, to me, it just when I shoot it, I can't tell much difference between the way my dot returns on my polymer SAR 9 versus my all steel K12. So it's really good.
Absolutely. This is driving me nuts. I apologize. This actually hasn't happened in a long time. My internet, if something's going on with StreamYard or something, I keep kind of hearing and missing what you guys are saying. So, Clove, can you take over for a second? I'm going to reset my internet. I'm going to come right back in. And I apologize. I don't know why all of a sudden it hasn't been doing this forever. So, I'm gonna try this again. Clove, if you don't mind taking over, you and Ginger and Chris for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, Ginger, you haven't jumped in a minute. You got anything for Craig?
Yeah, I mean, what is your thought on the SAR 9 Sport? The first time I tried the Sport, it has been my favorite SAR yet. I'm glad that they're redoing it and putting an optics cut instead of 2 screw holes in the top. But what's your thought on that longer slide SAR?
I like it. I mean, to me, it looks really good. To be honest, I run the 4.4 inch, the regular full size for carry optics, because when you're running a dot, sight radius no longer matters. You just got that one point of reference which you're using for aiming, and then so the gun's a little shorter, a little faster out of the holster, a little snappier to move around between targets. So that's kind of why I went with it. I do like the looks of the Sport. I think it's one of the best looking of the group. But as far as competition wise, like I'll run the regular full size and carry optics. I'll shoot the iron sighted version for those divisions, and even the compact, for like CCP and IDPA.
Now, as SAR has become more and more of a name brand, what do you think of the aftermarket support for it? Is it gonna start picking up? Or are you seeing a pickup? Is there any interchangeable parts that would go in from other firearms?
Yes, so I'm learning quite a bit as far as what out there is interchangeable with the guns. Like currently, the tungsten guide rods and recoil springs that I just started using a few days ago in my Gen 3 SAR 9 is a Glock. It's a Gen 4, Gen 5 Glock 17. So I ordered that from the Glock store. That fit fine. On the SAR 9 magazines, any 320 base pad will work. Running base pad with the grams follower that puts me at really as far as base pads for the mags, like standard CZ like 75 mag pads for my carry optics pistols, and that actually takes you to 25 rounds in the mag, and it's reloadable. It gets pretty tight, but 24 is easy all day, and once you get them broke in, you can actually hit 25 rounds, and that's 141.5, millimeter compliant or legal for USPSA. Holsters, I know Jay's doing a lot. We met with several companies, and he's doing a lot right now to try and get that built out. Like currently, I use a Big Dog Steel competition holster for my SAR 9 Gen 3 that ordered it for the M&P. So the general shape of our gun is fairly similar to that of an M&P. Ours is a little thicker, but it took me a little bit of fitment, heating the holster a little bit to get it to fit just right. But that holster is a locking holster design, so I really like that. So when I'm doing like stage walkthroughs, and if I'm going to do an aggressive movement to come into a position to see what it's going to feel like, I don't have to worry about my gun flopping out of my holster and going. So I know he's reached out to Galco and a bunch of different people here in the last couple of weeks, even to start getting our guns. A lot more fitment in holsters, aftermarket parts. There's a lot of stuff going on with that as well. So there's just so much in the works right now. I mean, it's crazy. Like you said, poor Jay and them or Jake they're just drinking from a fire hose because they got so many projects and things going on, but it's all great stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting to know that all this stuff is happening right now, and it won't be long. There'll be so much more available to support the guns, both internally and externally.
Real quick, Craig, the chat out there, and I've noticed it too. You're cutting out too every now and then. So, yeah, I don't know where you're at or if you got movement going on or anything crazy, but just so you're aware, that is happening. Are you good, Ginger? You got anything else?
Yeah, he cut out for a second. You said CZ75 pattern mags will work in there? I caught a bit of it and then it cut out.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, our K12s will run with a CZ75 mag. So like a mag from a Shadow 2 will run in the K12. So we can use base pads for any of those designed mags. And currently we use the Team Mac design base pads and their grams follower, which puts us at 25 rounds in those mags for the K12, which is really good.
And is the SAR 9, does that have any interchangeable mags?
So I know the 320 mags fit in the gun, but they won't lock into place because the magazine catch place is just a little bit off on between the two. But like I said, any of the base pads that will fit a 320 mag will fit ours.
I hope I'm back. I think I'm back.
You sound back.
Yeah.
There you are.
I reset everything. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's StreamYard or my internet. My wife's watching Netflix and all that. No problem. So I don't know if it's StreamYard or what, but I apologize. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. We're going to continue on though. Continue the conversation because I'll try to catch up here. Chloe.
Okay, cool. Was that it? You good, Ginger?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. yeah, when you're talking about the aftermarket, I did not realize that there was so much of a variety, I guess, of things that interchange. You know, you talked about some of the parts from Glock, some of the stuff from Sig, some of the stuff from Tanfolio. Do you know if that's intentional or that was just happy accident, as Bob Ross would say, during the manufacturing, process or whatever?
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge as far as how
Yeah.
things went on the developmental side, but yeah, I'm happy that it is right.
Right.
It,
Yeah, it's
it get
kind of a built-in leg up because especially when you've got a company that comes in like that. I mean, aftermarket can make or break a company, and so it's nice to have those options sort of already built in.
It is, and so there's enough there already to get you whatever you need to get going in any of the competitive sports for the changes you need to make. And like I said, there's just a lot more in the works. So there's a lot
Right.
of good things that'll be coming along to help make that even better.
Yeah. Um,
Uh, I got a
go ahead.
question real quick from Kyle. Kyle's our buddy out there, Anderson Manufacturing. What's up, homie? He says, I got a question for Craig. It's more LE related. So are you starting to see more departments start shooting clubs / competition? I bet that pays dividends in camaraderie, training, etc. Pretty awesome. So are you starting to see other departments when you show up to shoots that are kind of traveling together doing stuff like that?
Yes, there are. I know in our region we've helped two other smaller departments get their teams up and running. It's a really good thing. So unfortunately, like in our profession, we get a lot of inbred training, right? So we get like I'm a new officer. I've been on the street for 4 years. I can shoot okay. Maybe I like shooting a little more than the next guy. And then they have an opening at the indoor range, and here I go. I put in for the job. I get it, and all of a sudden I'm a firearms instructor. I go through the basic stuff, and it's good people trying to do good things, but um, you don't know what you don't know, right? And until you
Yep.
get out into the competitive world and you get to meet world class shooters, that you realize that the best people in your department are probably like C class shooters at best, right? So there's so much that we did not know, and just knowledge that we did not have. So getting exposure to that, all of a sudden now you see what's possible. Now you can start to chase that, right? So you can start to make changes, make improvements, drive performance. So it's, to me, shooting competitions is one of the best things that any law enforcement officer can do. I mean, it puts you into an environment where you've got to think, move, shoot, be safe, do all these things under a little bit of a stress over a timer, right? And then you always have some that say the argument, well, it's not tactical or it's going to get you killed, this kind of stuff. But my thing is what I'd always say is that, like, if I can give you a stage and tell you got these 10 targets, you can walk it 4 or 5 times, you can think about it, you can plan your reloads, do all this stuff, and then if you can't execute that on demand, how are you going to perform in another situation on the street where you got unknown variables, all these things that you're going to try to deal with that are unknowns, and an opponent that is shooting back? Um, it's competition is a snapshot of your on-demand capability at this moment. And honestly, for most of us, it's not great. So getting into that world and getting that exposure is really, really good. I mean, for all of y'all guys that you've shot competition, I remember my first match, I blew by 2 targets, and you know what I mean? Didn't reload where I thought I was going to. It was kind of a blur. And then you do it more and more and more, and all of a sudden you can start to think and shoot and perform on demand. And that's what we want, to have that confidence to know. I mean, using the gun is such a small part of our job, but it
Right.
is an extremely vital thing if it ever has to happen, right? So
Absolutely. Now I want to kind of, before we move into some LE stuff, I want to kind of ask a question that, as far as competition shooting, not necessarily with SAR, but I mean, obviously you're using the SAR 9, you're using the K12, you're using different, you're using the compact, the SOCOM compact for IDPA. But when you're looking, and I'm going to bring Chris into there as well, because he shoots USPSA as well. But when you're looking for a gun to specifically use for competition, for people out there that have never kind of shot competition or understand that world, what are you looking for in a pistol? That's, what characteristics, what are you looking for in a pistol to say, I feel comfortable taking this to competition?
Okay, there's a lot, but I guess first
Yeah, there's
off,
a
it
lot.
have to
I
be
know, but yeah.
yeah. It has to be reliable, right? I have to be able to shoot it and trust that it's going to work. There are some guys that like to. I train with a buddy that's a former Marine, and he is meticulous about cleaning his gun all the time.
I'm the same
I
way.
just I just cleaned my SAR, my primary SAR 9 Gen 3 for the first time, and I think I was almost at 20,000 rounds. So I like to shoot them. I don't like to clean them. So I want the gun to be utterly reliable. So
we didn't have a whole lot of choice in the Marine Corps. We had to clean meticulously, or it was a bad thing. So I think that's where we got it from.
Yeah. No, he's awesome. I mean, he's on his stuff. I wish I was that way. I'm just not. So it's got to be it's got to be reliable. The next part of it to me is it's got to fit me good. I see too many shooters that shoot guns that don't fit them well, and of course, when your skill level is lower, your grip and your structure is not developed. You already have those problems. Now, if you throw in a gun that doesn't fit you well, you're just magnifying it, right? So they're constantly milking their grip. They have all these issues with their grip pressure. So it's really hard to make progress when you're dealing with all that. So a gun that really fits my hand well is something I want. And a good trigger, right? Like, the K12 is a single action. The way ours is set up, it breaks just slightly over 2 pounds. I mean, it's a solid wall, really good. The SAR 9 Gen 3s, again, really good trigger. I guess people that haven't shot one, is kind of like a Glock trigger, similar to me, but better, right? It's better out of the box. And then obviously it's got to be optic ready for these divisions that have it. So we've got that covered as well. And then the ergonomics overall of the pistol, not just in the way the grip fits, but like I said, like especially the SAR 9s, the design of the slide, the cuts, to me, they look good. They reduce slide mass because you're adding an optic. So all that's good, but it's super functional for me to be able to get a hold of that slide to run it. So I can run it with force and not have to worry about my hand slipping off. And then bring all that back to value, right? Like if you're going to go into limited optics division, yeah, you can go buy an Atlas, which I think they're amazing. But if you're going to buy a competition gun and a practice gun, you're north of what, 12,000-15,000 by the time you're all into that.
Right.
So I mean, that's a lot of money. So if you have it, great. But if you don't, now there are other choices where you can get a solid gun that fits you well, that runs well, that's reliable, that doesn't cost so much. So that's where that value component comes in. Because now, I mean, most of us know that guns sometimes is not the most expensive part of the process. Now I got to buy all those extra mags. I got to buy the extended, base pads, springs, optics. Now you need a competition belt. You need, all the pouches that go with it, the holsters, timers, gear. I mean, it just mounts up really, really quick. So it's not a cheap sport to jump into. So having a system that you can get into that's pretty value based, that allows you to use your money to get some of the other things you need and get good quality belts and holsters and mag pouches. I mean, it goes such a long way in helping you get started well, instead of spending all your money on a really expensive gun. And now I'm running some cheap Kydex holster and Kydex mag pouches that are just crap, right?
Absolutely.
That would be a good way to get into it.
Yeah, and you brought up earlier, one of the first things you brought up was it's got to fit your hand, and that's what I love about like the SAR 9, and it was by no means the first, but it was the first gun that I had that offered not just one but multiple different grip sizes. And now a lot of them do that, but 2018, that wasn't as common as it is now. But they were kind of ahead of the game of saying, hey, we understand that not every gun's going to fit every hand perfectly, so we're going to give you a small, medium, and a large, and you figure out which one works for you. And I think that's something that is really good. So make sure if you're out there and you're buying a gun, not just for competition, but if you're just buying a gun for carry or whatever, and the gun feels decent, but it doesn't feel exactly right in your hand, make sure you ask someone at that gun shop, hey, does this come with a different back panels or side panels for the grip to make different sizes? Because it very well could, and that might be the difference in you purchasing that gun or not, is if it comes with those different size grip panels and all that. But Clover, Chris, Ginger, you guys got anything right now?
No, we were talking about, when you're talking about like grips, that was always an issue I had. And I think one of the biggest reasons that I have pretty much always shot the PCC division was in carry optics, we're not allowed to run a mag well. So with as big as my hands are, because like I started out shooting the PPQ M2, but without a mag well on it, I really don't have a place to put my pinky on that frame. That was why I went with the Canik TP9 SFX, just because the frame on that it's a lot longer than a lot of the other guns out there. But now that we have this limited optics division, now this is a game changer, because I'm tending to want to shoot a few more matches this year, because now that I have that TSAWS, I want to run in the limited optics division, because we're allowed to run a mag well, and plus a 2011 just fits my hand really well. So but yeah, that was always kind of a big thing for me choosing a pistol, is not being able to run that mag well and carry optics. It posed a pretty big problem for me with a lot of the guns out there.
Yep. You brought up PCCs, and what is now my truck gun is the SAR 109T, and I love this thing. I've had it now for about 5 years, and it kind of went away there for a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it's back. And if you're familiar with a 416 system, it'll remind you of this. And I love the 416. I think it's the best rifle system ever created. But this is a little 9mm PCC, and I love it. Do you have much experience with the 109T?
I do not. I've got the whole one. I shot one just once, but I am planning to start pushing that. So, being LE in the division I'm in, so obviously I've carried a work rifle for a long time, and actually when I first got into competition, I started out in 3 guns, so I was more heavy on the rifle and shotgun side, and then so I've been pistol primarily for a while now, but I really like shooting rifle. So my daughter, I've let her shoot maybe 2 or 3 2-gun or 3-gun matches, so she's got to just shoot a rifle a few times. But what better platform to get starting out with, like a PCC 9mm, right, to learn and train and compete with. So to me, it's definitely something that for myself and for her that's on the horizon. I'd like to get one set up and start using it to compete sometime. And
that'd be awesome.
That platform as well. Yeah.
For sure. Ginger, you got anything right now?
No, I'm good.
Ginger. Okay. Clove, you got anything right
now? No, I don't think so.
Okay. Real quick, we're going to transition to LE stuff, and we're talking kind of off air and being involved with SWAT and more of a tier 1 tactical unit and all that. I know that you guys are running different things, and I know that you said at one point that your kind of rifle of choice is a 10.5 5.56. And we were talking a little earlier, a 300 blackout or whatever could be coming down the line, but explain to people why a 10.5. I'm a big 10.5. I'm a big CQB guy. So I'll be interested to hear why you decide, or why the department has decided that a 10.5 is kind of the standard issue for maybe SWAT and some of those more elite units.
Sure. It all comes down to maneuverability, right? So we run all of our rifles run suppressed. We use the Huxworth flow, and so you're adding a little bit more length to the gun. So if you start out with a 16-inch gun and then you add that to it, now we're getting kind of excessive in length. So
Yeah.
now, while a lot of our scenes are static, meaning we're responding to a building, a house, or things like that, we're periodically doing takedowns that are mobile. So you're in and out of vehicles, or are moving or fighting in around vehicles. So the ability to maneuver a shorter gun in that environment makes a big difference. And then most LE engagements we're not talking extended ranges, so we're not giving up anything due to the shorter barrel, because of our combative ranges are always within that capability of that system.
Absolutely. If in your normal life, are you more of a 10.5, a shorter barrel rifle, or are you like the 16, 18, 20-inch rifle barrels in your private life? Which do you prefer?
I really like the 10.5-inch in general. I will say that my 3-gun back when I was doing that was a 16-inch with a 1-to-8 mounted on it. So and in that type of competition, that worked great, right?
Yeah.
So especially if you're starting to shoot out to distances of 600 or 700 or 800 yards, so that longer barrel system fit that better. But yeah, if I'm going to buy one gun, it's a 10.5-inch all day.
Absolutely. I know that SAR I believe they were at the Primary Arms Range Day there prior to NRAM. Were you happen to be with them at the range?
Yes, I've been. Well, I was at the NRA Range Day. I wasn't at that one specifically, but
yeah, the one that was the day before. I think it was Primary Arms is
Yeah.
actually who ran it, but the one that before
Yeah.
NRAM. So of all the
Yeah.
guns that SAR had out there, what was the most popular? What was the one that most people kind of gravitated to wanting to shoot?
The SOCOMs. That
Yeah.
was, especially as the compact was the new release. So there was a lot of interest in that. And it just adds a little bit more functionality to what was already a great gun. So
Yeah, I know the answer as far as how NRAM went, but at the range, did the public and everyone, all of the media and all that, did they seem to respond well to the compact? It's a great gun, but I didn't know how they reacted to it.
they did. Everybody, as usual, when they pick it up, the first comment is, if they've never picked one up, oh my God, this feels so good. Right.
Yeah,
So
it does.
the gun fitment is always the number one thing they notice. But immediately when they start to shoot it, then you realize how much that actually helps and applies to the shootability of the pistol system. So yeah, it all stacks on top of each other in a good way. So it was all positive as far as the feedback.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I talk about all the time, and it's one of those where they say, "What's the best gun?" And, we all say this. Everyone says this. There's no such thing as the right gun. It's the right gun for you, whatever that is. And the
Yes.
biggest thing is if a gun doesn't look good to you, it's kind of like a woman. There are certain aspects that you look at first, but there's got to be a physical attraction to that gun. You got to like the way it looks. If you don't like the way it looks, then you're probably not going to like the gun. And then you got to like how it feels, because if a gun doesn't feel good in your hand, you're never really going to get the maximum confidence with that gun. So if a gun looks good, but it feels good, for me, I'd rather it feel right in my hand than look right in my hand. When it feels good in my hand, I know that I'm going to have the ultimate amount of confidence in that firearm, because I'm not going to have to sit there and be thinking, oh, this feels so bad and all that. So that's one thing that SAR does, is they make great feeling guns, and they always have. And that's what I love about it, is when you first pick up that SOCOM or that SAR 9 or the K12 or whatever, it's just going to feel really, really good. And it's like it's supposed to be there. So I'm really proud of that. Real quick, right thing to do, $20 super chat. Appreciate you. Says, for the troops, we have a co-worker from his department deployed overseas, just got activated. Stay safe, Marine. Absolutely. Yeah, we do not ask, nor do we anticipate super chats, but all super chats do go to sending care packages downrange to our troops. So thank you for that. It's really awesome of you. If you talk to them, tell them Semper Fi and stay safe, and more importantly, come home. Coming home is the most important thing. We're gonna, before we kind of start sweeping the floor, we do want to go and have some fun, Craig. Every week on Thursday, Saturday, Monday, we do have our pony polls over on our YouTube community tab. We ask some fun questions and all of that. So we're going to bring you guys in. I want to hear your answers out there in the chat as well. The pony polls, go visit our friends over Anderson Manufacturing for that. But the first one's got 1.3 thousand votes, came out yesterday. What is the best quote unquote American food? Is it a burger, a steak, or barbecue? Craig, I'm going to let you start out first. Burger, steak, or barbecue? What do you think is a quintessential American food?
Yeah, a good burger wins it for me.
It's hard to beat a good burger, isn't
Yeah.
it? Christopher, burger, steak, or barbecue?
I got to go with the burger.
Uh-oh, I feel a trend coming on. I like it. A Clove?
Burger.
Burger? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Ginger's going to say barbecue, and he's going to say it's going to be from some weird swanky place, in Arizona.
No, burger. Always a burger.
Always a burger. I tend to agree. I do love a good steak, but I think that because it's hard to find like a truly good burger, you can find a good steak a lot of places, but a truly good burger is hard to find. So I tend to go burger as well. 1.3 thousand votes. Steak wins with 41%. Burgers at 34%. Barbecue comes in at 25%. So steak for the win. I get where they're coming from. I do love me a good steak, but a good burger is really hard to find these days. So yeah. Next one came out. Next question, poll question came out Saturday. Got 1.3 thousand votes. We're talking camping out here. When you guys camp out, or if you camp out, do you camp out in a tent or are you rolling with a camper? Chris, we'll start with you.
Well, I don't have a camper, so I'm gonna go tent.
You're gonna go tent. If you had a camper, would you want to go in a camper or would you still choose tent?
No, 100% the camper.
right. I understand. Chloe, what about you? A tent or a camper?
Oh, I'm probably going camper. Nowadays, probably going camper.
Yeah. Ginger. So camping out is when you rough it outside, either a tent or a camper, but you're usually cooking by the campfire. You don't bring your satellite dish and your Starbucks. So roughing it a little bit, Ginger. So I'm sure you probably don't know what we're talking about.
Hammock is what I camp with.
Of course you say
a hammock camp. Yes, with a tarp and a hammock.
With a tarp. Okay, all right. Between a tent and a camper, what would you roll with?
A tent. I don't glamp. When I go camping, I go camping.
I find that very difficult to believe.
I'm going this weekend and I'm putting a tent in the bed of the truck.
I can't imagine that hot yoga is going to allow. I see her as a camper.
She is a camper. She's a camper person, but I am a tent person. When I first went camping with them, they brought a camper and I slept outside in a hammock because I was not sleeping in a camper. That's not camping. That's parking your camper in a parking lot with some grass around it.
Yes, banana hammock jokes have been mentioned out there. Craig, what about you? When you go camping, are you more of a camper guy or a tent guy?
Well, we are a tent guy. That's what we've always used. But if I had a nice camper, I would use that.
I'm right there. I mean, my days of using a tent are well behind me. If I can enjoy a little bit of it, with my back is so bad. If I can enjoy some sort of a resemblance of a bed, not having to worry about any weather or critters and all that, I'm not gonna lie, man. If I had a camper, I would definitely be a camper guy for sure.
Like I don't gotta have
Yeah.
The big screen TV, the Wi-Fi, a water
No, I
bed,
don't need all that. No, I don't need
even
that
air
either.
conditioning, but like maybe a table, maybe a sink, the cook stove, all right there, some type of
Sure.
structured cover and a bed. Yeah.
I'm 100% with you on that. I don't
Yeah,
need all
yeah.
I don't need all of the crazy stuff, but
Right.
now I have seen some of these fifth wheel campers, man, and some of these things are incredible.
Oh, there's people that live out of them. So yeah.
This is true. But yeah, 1.3 thousand votes. 54% are lying when they say tent. Maybe they've never been in a camper, but 54 to 46 is pretty close in the poll. 1.3 thousand votes, but 54% of the people are lying that say tent. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
So I wonder if you get a big, huge, fancy tent, and then you've got all of your other gear and your camp stove and your blow up mattresses, and by the time that you've got all of your other stuff, could you?
I'm
have just
glad you
bought a
said blow
cheap-
up mattress.
Right.
Mattress is the
Right.
key
No,
word
no,
there.
exactly. Could you have just possibly bought a cheap, used whatever camper trailer?
Probably. This is no joke. I have a friend that they go camping out for 4th of July here on the lake that we have here, and they live here, but they'll go and camp out because family and all that will kind of have this big thing. And it's hilarious because he rents a U-Haul trailer and puts his mattress in there, and that's what he sleeps in. It's not a camper, but it's a covered area that he can sleep on with a mattress. And that's kind of what I would need, just rent me like a $20 a day U-Haul trailer, throw a mattress in there, and I can hang out outside with the bonfire and all of that all day long. But when it's time to go to sleep, just let me go into that and live on a mattress for my back, and I'm good to go. That's a pretty good idea, actually. The tent trailer G23 says now you're trying to game the system here. And there is such a thing. There is such a thing, but I'm a camper guy.
Camper?
Yeah, it's kind of like the camper that's got like the on top of it or the side of it. It's got kind of a tent. It's kind of you get the best of all worlds. But I'm not a fan.
It's kind of like a pop-up camper. The hard shell bottom and top, and it raises up, and it's got the netting around it or whatever.
Yeah. I just, for me, it's either you're going to go camper or you're going to go tent. If you're going to go tent, then go tent. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to go camper, like, don't try to make it look like you're trying to go with a tent. You're still going with a camper. So 30 big kid out there, 32-foot camper, got a toilet hookups and a comfy bed. Of course you do. He's making all that big YouTube money. So, our last one. This is a fun one here. 1.8 thousand votes. Who would have won in a gunfight? Billy the Kid or Doc Holliday? Clover, we're going to start with you.
Oh man, Holiday without a doubt.
Yeah,
that's not even a competition, man.
Ginger, what about you? Doc Holliday or Billy the Kid? Who wins in a gunfight?
I'm your Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry. You kind of had to say that being close to Tombstone,
Yeah, it's Doc all day, every day, even with his tuberculosis.
I think that I didn't know him, but everything that I know about him and read and all that about him is that might have given him an advantage, because I think maybe people, once he really got real sick and he was still able to do his thing, but I think maybe people underestimated him a little bit. And I'm your Huckleberry.
Well, the defense dad brings it up too.
Go ahead.
Defense dad brings it up too with him being sick. He didn't.
Well, this is true.
He didn't give two flips, right? Like he's going to die anyway.
Damn, did he? That's right. And you know what? There's a lot to be said about that. You're a daisy if you do. Craig, what about you? Who do you think wins? Billy the Kid or Doc Holliday in a gunfight?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Doc as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good one. Christopher?
I'm going with Doc too.
Yep. 73% of the people agree with us and say Doc Holliday. Billy the Kid, I think that Billy the Kid didn't give a damn, but it wasn't like he was a fast, great shot. He just was how do I put this? He took some opportune shots. Some people would say maybe not the cleanest shots in the world back in the day. He didn't really care about being a fast draw. He was just trying to get a lot of revenge settled. Holiday, he was a legit gunfighter.
Holiday was also smarter than Billy the Kid, and so
he's
Holiday was a lot
incredibly
better.
intelligent.
He was a lot better with body language reads and stuff like that. And when you're when you're doing what am I thinking? Quick draw. What am I even thinking? Like duels. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, and reflexes are a thing. Like I said, Billy the Kid, Billy the Kid was on a rampage for revenge more than anything. He wasn't there, hey, we're going to meet at noon. If he could ambush you, he was going to ambush you. And he threw all tactics out of the way. He was just worried about revenge. And Doc, I think, was a gunfighter. This guy was a poker guy. I guarantee you that he was at high noon several times in his life, and
I think Billy the Kid probably had the superior revolver. Although I do like a Colt Lightning. They just weren't known to be super reliable.
See, I don't even know what Doc was using. I really don't.
Colt Lightning seems to be the consensus. Yeah, and Kid, of course, Schofield's. But I think a Colt Lightning is more conducive.
Yeah, but I was just I'm trying to look that up right now because I don't know if I know what that is.
I think a Colt Lightning is much more conducive to quick draw too.
Probably the 1877 model is probably what we're going to assume.
You got me. I just stuff I've read.
When I say Colt Lightning, that's the one that comes up as the 1877 Colt Lightning. So, Interesting. John, you've been to Tombstone several times. I've been there once. It's been a long time, but do they have anything about maybe Doc's revolver choice there in Tombstone?
Yeah, it's a Colt Lightning, and then the other one was, I think, a single action Army. They have his supposed set of guns sitting at the Gunfighter Hall of Fame, but they also supposedly have Billy the Kid's trigger finger sitting there. So I can only believe so much from a Hall of Fame.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Craig, I'm going to bring you in real quick and let you talk a little bit about SAR and what you're doing. Also, I want to let you promote yourself if you're out there on social medias. But obviously, SARUSA.com. Go check out SAR and all that. But Craig, I'll give you a few minutes to talk a little bit about SAR or whatever, anything that we didn't touch on you want to bring up, but also let people know where they can follow you as well on social medias if they want to.
Okay, sure. So we pretty much touched on all the main things I'd want to say about SAR. I just would follow up with that. I mean, our current lineup and the current guns that we have are really good. They are. And there is an intention and a drive to continue to make that better. I can say that, sometimes to me, a lot of the companies go wrong is they don't listen to shooters, right? And this company wants to know what competitors want, what shooters want, what makes the guns perform better, what can make them better in the future. So, when you've got that kind of drive and then you've got the structure, the history, and all the stuff behind SAR USA from Sarsimus, the main company, I mean, they have what it takes to make those things happen. So I think things are great now and they're going to get nothing but better going forward. As far as me, I mean, like I said, me and my daughter shoot. I'm on Instagram under Bellamy Shooting, and I think our YouTube channel is the same thing. And then my daughter is Karis Bellamy. And yeah, that's where we primarily put most of our stuff. I think it copies some of that stuff over to Facebook, but I really don't ever get on there. But you can message me directly on Instagram. I answer stuff there a lot. People have questions about the guns, what competition gear works with the current lineup, recommendations on stuff like that. And for people starting out, I would really recommend that they spend some time and talk to some people. because I have literally crates of crap that I bought and then had to change once I found out better stuff.
I have dressers full of holsters and belts and goodness gracious.
Yeah, so spend the time.
It's funny because you look for that stuff and go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, yeah, just spend the time to talk to some people. Get a little bit of information so you get really good gear, and then spend a little time and a little bit of money to get good training, because that get a good firearms instructor to get you started, and then jump into it. As far as the competition side of it, especially law enforcement, I talked to so many guys, and they're like, "Well, let me get a little bit better, and then I'll come try it." And I'm like, "Heck no! Just show up Saturday. Here's a match.
Absolutely,
yeah. Just jump in, and you will learn so much in the process, and it's such a good community. I mean, there's everybody out there that is having a good time, and we'll give you guns, gear, advice. People will bend it over backwards.
I've seen people's guns break down, and they'll give you their backup gun. If you ran out of ammo, they'll give you a couple boxes of ammo. I mean, it's. I tell people all the time, the competitive shooting community is fantastic, especially when you're starting out. Now, just in all things, once you start getting better, and you might be beating some of those people, they may not help you quite as quickly, but they definitely. It's a great community to get started, and there's no reason to be nervous. 100% no reason to be nervous. Get out there and just try it. You never know.
Yeah, 100%. And you will be nervous. I mean, that's part of it, right? You have a lot of law enforcement that are afraid of going out and looking bad in front of a civilian. But I got bad news for you. You're going to get beat by an 80-year-old man and a 12-year-old girl. That's just the facts, right?
That is the facts.
But just get out there, do it. You'll have so much fun. You'll get so much better for it. And anything I can do to help anybody get started, I'd love to. Because, like I said, it's the best thing for anybody, right? Military, law enforcement, civilian. Get out there and use the thing that you are going to bet your life on, get better with it, and have fun. I mean, what can be better than that?
Well, that's how I got into starting the competition. Is I was going to the range, and no offense, I'm not very smart, and I'm easily distracted. So going to the range and just putting holes in paper all the time was kind of getting boring. So for me, competition was something that I started simply because I wanted to have a purpose to go to the range and actually work on specific things. And it kept me interested in going to the range and practicing. And for me, the competitions were just the fun part of it. It was the results of working hard and getting better at your craft on the range and all that. So yeah, it's a cool thing. Craig, thank you so much for coming on. Stick around. We're gonna hang out for a little bit on the after chat, but I'm gonna let these guys speak as well. But SARusa.com, go check out Bellamy Shooting over on YouTube and in the grams and all of that stuff. But thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. Christopher, what you got going? I know you've got a podcast Thursday night. What else you got coming up?
Thursday night we'll go live at 8 Eastern with Cox Arms. Looking forward to that. I got a couple more videos I'm going to be dropping this week from AIM Day down at AIM Surplus over the weekend. And then I'm kind of excited about this, starting to get a little traction over there. I've been kind of wanting to get back to doing my old install videos and stuff like I used to do on YouTube that I can't do anymore. So I posted a couple videos over on Rumble of me doing some trigger installs and stuff like that, and I've been really enjoying that. So I got that going on, but really appreciate having me on tonight. And Craig, I went over and followed you on Instagram, and appreciate all the info tonight on the milling the slide for the K12, and then the base pads for the mags for the SAR, being able to use the 320 base plates, because there's a lot of extended plates out there. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, sure. It's a pleasure talking to
you. Ginger, I'm going to bring you back in. You got some 2A Tuesday stuff for people that weren't here earlier. What's going on with 2A Tuesday? And then also what's going on with Fully Loaded Reviews?
So 2A Tuesday, we had the YouTube thing drop today, the new rules. So we talked about that, but we also had the Biden administration get overruled on trying to veto or overturn the veterans stuff, and it got passed 211 to 193, and that was HR 8580. So we've got that going on at Fully Loaded Reviews. Well, let me turn back a little bit. Make sure to go to gunowners.org/goals to sign up for the GOA Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership Summit being held in Knoxville, Tennessee, August 17th and 18th. We are still taking media applications until July. I want to say July 20th is the cutoff date for media. If you have not applied and you are media, go ahead and apply. If you're a vendor and want to join on, we still have some spots open. We've got an amazing vendor list, including Shadow Systems that just signed on yesterday, as well as Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And Dry Fire Mag signed on today with a bunch of, we've added about 10 new companies after yesterday's announcement. So we're really excited about that. So make sure to go to the website, goals.gunners.org, to sign up and get your media stuff put in or register to just attend the show. For Fully Loaded Reviews, we've got our new review video out on the new Hellcat Pro Comp. Go check that out at Fully Loaded Reviews. It's an amazing integral compensated Hellcat Pro. I really like it compared to the original. So go check that review out at Fully Loaded Reviews.
G-Web says he never got accepted for media for what it's worth. So
I never got an application from G-Webs.
So he might just be pulling your leg. You never know.
He could be. I mean, he'd have to drive. Do you think he would drive all the way out there?
Well, he's driven much further than that over his lifetime. So yeah.
Put in for your media application, and I will double check on my end, and I'll make sure that you get approved because you should have gotten approved immediately right away.
Yep, he's going to reapply. I know you guys announced title sponsor and range sponsor as well. That was kind of pretty cool.
Yeah, title sponsor is going to be Brownells. Really excited to have them on board. Pete is stepping up big. He may be on one of the panels with another gentleman who owns a large online company to be announced here shortly.
That could be interesting.
Yours truly may be running that panel, so it'll be really fun for me to be able to talk to him and a couple other people. So
I think you just need to show up and say go, and you don't have to do a whole lot.
Oh, I don't have to do a whole lot. I think I'm just going to sit there and make sure everybody stays civil.
That be the biggest part is being almost a referee than a host, you know?
Well, I found out that Jamin and Pete are good friends, so I think I'm not going to have to do too much referee. But yeah, super excited. We just announced our veterans panel at the beginning of the show. That got posted officially. So that panel consists of the moderator is Clint Morgan, who is Mag Dump Morgan. We've got Eric Blanford from IV8888, Mike Mills from Tactical Considerations, Omar Crispy, so everybody knows Crispy, Trey Miller from Ghost Tactical, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Tony Simon from Tony Says Training and 2A Diversity Shoot, and Tim Harmson from Military Arms Channel are all going to be on that panel. I'm really, really excited for that.
Why in the hell did you have me on that panel? You don't need me on that panel.
Hey, I think it would be fantastic to have you on that panel. You and Tony and Tim and Crispy.
Me, Tony, and Tim. Yeah, it could get interesting. It could be a love fest, I guess. You know.
Yeah, it'd be great.
For sure. We'll have fun with it for sure.
I'm excited. Yeah. I mean, I had to split it up somehow. I've got 3 Army and 3 Marines, so I think Crispy was Army. Mm-hmm. So 3 Army, 3 Marines.
Tim and Tony are Marines. I know me, Tony, and Tim are Marines, but I don't know about Crispy. And I know Eric was Army. Obviously, Mills was, but I don't know about Crispy.
Mills was Ranger, which is Army, but
yeah, it's Army. So
yeah, so it's going to be a good panel.
He's a doggy.
I think you
Kyle
guys
said
are going to
Crispy
have
is
fun.
his army, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have a good time. We'll have a good time regardless, and there might be some jabs taken here or there, but we'll figure that out when it comes. Thanks for coming on, buddy. Clove, want to bring you in. I know that the Rain has won 31 straight days, and you have Clovertack has won 0, so it's 31-0 on the scoreboard if you're keeping score at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it does stop raining, you got any projects coming up?
Dude, I got tons of stuff, so that's why I can't know where to begin. Interestingly enough, I looked yesterday, and I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday showed 0% rain, and I'm like, oh snap, I can get really busy, right? And knock some stuff out. And I look at the weather, I don't know, about 15 minutes ago, and now it's 20% those 4 days. So
there you go.
Who knows? And the problem is the weather patterns here are even jacked. Like storms are not rolling in the way they normally do. I don't know what's going on with the atmosphere and stuff, but like something's jacked this year. Something is just weird.
It has been a very strange year weather-wise.
Yeah.
East Texas has got a lot of craziness. We up here in Arkansas, we've got a lot of rain, but none of the crazy stuff that you guys in East Texas have gotten. And Craig down by the Gulf, have y'all been getting some crazy weather also this spring?
Should.
Yep, he might have stepped away. Yeah. Real quick, John, Kyle wants to know, is there going to be questions available from the audience during these panels?
Yes. So the beginning of the panel is going to be predetermined questions. And then the end of the panel, there's going to be questions from the audience for that. We actually have a really cool microphone that we're going to be passing around for that. Also, I totally forgot. The moderator is also a Marine. Clint is a Marine. So,
is he? Okay, nice.
Active duty guard Marine. I think he's in the guard for Marines, or he's not. He's active duty. He gets called up for training, but I don't know what his actual term is because I don't think guard is Marines, right?
No.
He's a Marine. I know that. I just
we have Marine security guard, but that's embassy duty. Yeah, he might be a reservist, but if he's active,
yes, that's what he is.
Okay, so he's not active. He's a reservist.
Yeah, he's a reservist. Yeah,
he might be an active reservist, but reservist is it is what it is. But yeah, we don't have we have the Marine security guard, which you say guard. That's kind of what I went, but that's embassy duty. So you're guarding posts at embassies and all that. So yeah. All right, boys and girls. Yeah, we've got to spend some time with the new rifle, the Cox Arms Every Man's Rifle, the EMR1. Going to try to get that edited this week and get that video out this weekend. I will, if Chris still allows me to. You never know. He might just decide not to uninvite me, but I will probably be on his panel Thursday night with Michael and some other. I think Big Kid will be up there. Hopefully, it'd be nice to talk to Steve. But talk with Cox Arms, and hopefully that video comes out in the next week. I got a bunch of stuff, man. I just got a bunch of stuff at work, and life is crazy this time of year, but I'm gonna start punching some stuff out and get a lot of reviews on some products done. I got to catch up, more importantly, on some written reviews for Gear Report as well. I feel kind of bad. I haven't really given Jeff anything since maybe December, so I need to start doing some more written stuff for Gear Report on these products as well. But yeah, it is excellent. I so far, kids. Steve put a video out a couple days ago. Go check that out. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this rifle. It's a great entry rifle to get involved and to get educated on Cox Arms. And you're talking about a $1,100 AR that's really packs a value punch with what you're going to get with brakes and different triggers and all that. So yeah, look for that video this week and coming out and all that. Anybody else have anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, if I can take just a second on the
Absolutely.
YouTube firearm policy change thing, because I know that, we got a lot of colleagues, a lot of friends that have channels that are potentially out there live now listening. There's a lot of talking heads throwing around a lot of misinformation right now. Hit me up if you're concerned. But let me say this: there were 3 policy changes. All 3 policy changes were basically further explanation, I guess you could say, of already existing policy. It has to
Mhm.
do with community guidelines, not monetization. Therefore, if you have listened to myself, Ghost, G-Webs, and some other people, tutor and talk about, how to curate your channel in context with your videos and all this other stuff to stay monetization compliant. If you're not having monetization issues, you're going to have 0 issues with this new policy. All 3 are nothing burgers. End of discussion as far as I'm concerned. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm not saying nobody's out there doing this, but the vast majority of people that we hang with and we know are not going to be affected by this. We're talking, I think, disabling safeties is one of them.
Well, you
which
shouldn't be
is not
doing that for
necessarily.
probably
That's what I'm
liability
saying.
purposes.
That's what I'm
anyway.
saying. And I'm pretty sure that's been on the books for a while anyway. So because that would go under, modifying and different things like
Yeah,
that. But
I mean,
there's
we
a
can
couple
go
of
into
them.
like a whole hour. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
the vast majority of people, this is community issues, and if you're
Yeah.
already abiding by monetization policy, then
Yeah.
you're going to have
You're
0
okay.
trouble because monetization supersedes community policy.
Yep. Yeah. You're going to be good. You're going to be good.
Yeah.
Craig, thank you guys for coming on, guys. Thank you guys for watching.
Yes.
The conversation was great out there live. If you're watching this in replay or listening in podcast form, like I said, I really appreciate you guys listening. If you've made an hour and 36 minutes, then God bless you. You're not getting your money back, but let us know what you think of the show. Most importantly for the podcast world, rate, review, and share. We'll see you guys next week. Semper Fi.